everyone. It is Wednesday and it is April 22nd, and today is the 140th day of school. Okay, so I'm here to talk to you about your work for today. I hope everything's been going well with you. Still a little hoarse. I was a little hoarse yesterday too. So I'm going to do my best in this video. We are going to start with our spelling words. Hopefully you remember that we're doing our controlled vowel or bossy R words, which means it has an R after a vowel. Okay, our vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. And this week we are focusing on words that have ER, IR, and UR, and they all say okay? So those are the sounds that we're working on for the week. Okay, now I'm going to write some of our spelling words and some other words up here that we're going to practice together, okay? There is our R. For my H, it's the word her, okay? Here's my R. I'm adding an N to the end. That says R. Now I add an F, it becomes burn, okay? There is R. I'm going to put a D at the end, so now instead of earn, that says erd. Then I'm going to put an H, and this is heard. Now, heard is a word that is a homophone, which is, remember, there are words that sound the same, okay? They are spelled differently and mean different things, okay? This is not heard like I heard someone speaking. This is heard like there's a herd of sheep, which means a lot of sheep or a group of sheep, okay? So that is what this type of herd means. Okay, now here again, earn, same thing as fern, which means this is going to be a rhyming word to fern. So this says fern. Now I'm going to add a two-letter blend, ST, which says st. So this word is stern, okay? Now I'm going to move over to my IR, which still says that says sir. Now, same thing with IR, but I'm going to add a T, so I have stir, like we are stirring our pot. Now I'm going to put a D at the end of erd, so that's at the end of so that says erd. I add a B to the beginning, and it says bird, like there's my bird. Now I'm going to put erd again, so these are rhyming words, bird, erd, but I'm going to put a digraph at the beginning. I'm going to put my TH, which says so this word is third, okay? Then there's my Now I'm adding two-letter blend to the end, so ST says st, so this is erst. And I'm going to add an F, and everyone should be able to read this word. This is the grade you are in, first. Okay. Now there's my IR. I'm putting a P. That says erp. Now I'm adding a digraph. CH. CH says ch. Remember we say CH, chin, ch. This is chirp. Like that is what a bird can sometimes do. And then our next one, girl. Now these are all erp. This isn't the same sound. It's to change it a little bit for girl, okay? Sounds a little bit different, okay? There's my UR. That says fur, okay? Then I have UR again, but I'm putting a T at the end, so that says ert. That says hurt, okay? Then I'm going to have the same ending. So ert. Now I'm going to add a two-letter blend to the beginning. BL says blah, so this is blurt. Like you just blurt out an answer, kind of like you just yell out an answer. Now there's my again, but here I'm putting a two-letter blend, st. So this says st, erst. I put a B in front of it. It says burst, kind of like you burst a balloon, which means you would pop a balloon, okay? So those are our spelling words and some additional words that we made. And remember, this is just what we would normally do for our dictation every morning. We wouldn't do this many words, but I would give you words with whatever sound we are learning for the week or the sounds, and you would have to stretch out the word and think about what you hear at the beginning and then what you hear at the end of the word, okay? So that's why we're doing this. So once you learn the sound, you should be able to apply that to other words and be able to spell different words with these same sounds that we've learned, okay? Now let's move on to our high frequency words. We have boy, B-O-Y, boy. Door, D-O-O-R, door. There's my door. Father, F-A-T-H-E-R, father. Maybe, M-A-Y-B-E, maybe. And Mia reminded me yesterday in our group and said that one of the words that we had was a compound word, which is correct. May and be. Compound word is two words. We put them together to make a bigger word. Good job, Mia. Nearest, N-E-A-R-E-S-T, nearest. And remember, I put these lines under it because I'm chunking this into different parts. Doesn't necessarily have to mean different words because est is not a word, okay? But I'm chunking near, I'm chunking est, then I can read nearest. Says, S-A-Y-S, says. Shouted, S-H-O-U-T-E-D. Okay, and this is a word that I can chunk in a few different ways, okay? I can chunk this first word shout, then add, or I can just chunk the word out, then add my digraph sh to the beginning to say sh, out, and then add my ending, shouted, okay? Then until, U-N-T-I-L, until. And again, I can chunk until, put it together to say until. Okay, great. Now we're going to move along to our work for the day, okay? Our work for the day, as always, is independent reading, okay? So make sure you're reading a book or go on Raz Kids and read a book and talk to someone about it, okay? That's the first thing you should be doing every morning. And I know I spoke to you about this yesterday, but please make sure you are pacing yourself. That means you are setting up times where you're doing this work, okay? You shouldn't be sitting in front of the computer all day long and trying to do this work and spending all day long doing work and having mom, dad, grandma, and your brothers and sisters helping you all day long. It shouldn't take that long, okay? Your independent reading should take 15 to 20 minutes tops. So read your book, then discuss it with someone. Jot it down on your reading log. All you're doing is writing the date, the title, and the number of minutes you read, okay? That's it. Then we're moving on to our spelling. Now for spelling, you are going to choose five of your spelling words, and you're going to write a sentence for them. So you only have 5 sentences to write. Now, you must have at least 6 words in each sentence, and we cannot start with the word I, okay? We want to expand our vocabulary. We want to write longer, more descriptive sentences that have details, so they have to be at least 6 words, and we cannot start with I. I don't want every sentence to start with I. No starting with I, okay? And I'm going to give you an example of a good sentence for one of our words. Let me just erase our whiteboard here, and I'm going to give you an example. And now again, this is the second part of your literacy. Writing 5 sentences should not take you more than 10 or 15 minutes, okay? So if you keep that pace, once you finish your independent reading and your spelling, you will only have been at work for about a half an hour already, okay? All right, so here's an example. I'm going to use the word fern. So this is our spelling word, and I'm going to put it into a sentence, fern. And I'm going to say, we have a humongous fern tree in the backyard. Okay, so here's my sentence. We have a humongous fern tree in the backyard. Okay, now, does my sentence start with I? No. So that's good. Now I'm going to count my words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this particular sentence has 9 words. I'm just asking you to write sentences that have at least 6. I put 9 in this, okay, but that's a good sentence and that's what I want to see you do. I've also used the word humongous, which is one of our words on our chart in class, where remember we're using higher level vocabulary, we're using 2nd and 3rd grade vocabulary. So if I was thinking about saying big, I know I want to use a better word. So I know that there are some words that mean the same thing as big that I can use that we've learned in class, which is why I used humongous. And of course, because I wrote a sentence, I have my capital letter and I have my punctuation at the end, which is my period, which is kind of small, but it is there. Okay, so that's the second part to your ELA work for today. Your third thing that you are going to do is to read your story, The Talking Vegetable. And I'm going to see if I can show it to you. So you are reading The Talking Vegetable, which is the next story in your My Book. Okay. Now, I'm going to try to put my computer here so you can see it. Let's see if this works. Okay. All right, great. So here's my computer and I am on Clever right now. Okay, this is how you get to Clever. You log in, we both log in the same way. Now I am going to look for this icon right here. It says Ed and it is yellow. I'm going to click on that. Now typically I put the link inside of your assignment, but sometimes I know if you're not logged in, it doesn't allow you to click on the link. So if it doesn't, this is how you find the story on your own. You click on Ed, then once I get here, it says HMH into reading right here. I can change it to math, but I don't want to because right now I'm on reading. So once it says into reading grade 1, I click on module 9 because that's where we are. Right underneath all of the modules, it says My Book. I'm just going to click My Book. I'm going to wait for it to load, and you see it says Grow Plants Grow. This is the first story. See, you see up here, you can see, so you want to grow a taco. We've read that. So I'm just going to keep going through this. 1, 2, 3 salsa. We read that story. So you see, I'm just going through all the stories. Which part do we eat is the story that we read yesterday. So I'm going to keep going until I get to my next story, which is right here, The Talking Vegetable. So this is what you're going to be reading today, okay? And it gives you a little overview. It tells you the genre of the story, which remember means what type of story is it. This is a folk tale. Folk tales are stories that come from long ago that have been told over and over again. So it's like grandma would tell their daughter or their son, and then the daughter or the son would tell their kids, and it kind of gets passed along from generation to generation. In folk tales, you usually have animals that act and talk like people. You also have problems and resolutions, and there's usually a lesson that one of the characters learns inside of a folk tale. Okay, so that's what a folk tale is. The character is usually learning a lesson. Okay, now when you read this story today, you should be reading to understand the events that happen in the beginning, in the middle, and the end of the story. Okay? So here, this is the audio for the authors of The Talking Vegetables. So there are 2 authors, and they are pictured right here, and I'll play it for you.
One Lady Pay and Margaret H. Lapierre both come from families of storytellers. Mr. Pay grew up in Africa in a country called Liberia. He was trained by his grandmother to remember and retell stories of the people that lived there. He has told his stories to thousands of schoolchildren. Miss Lapierre grew up listening to English and Irish stories told by her father. Mr. Pay and Miss Lapierre have teamed up to write award-winning picture books of folktales, including The Talking Vegetables.
Okay, so these are both the authors. They wrote this story together, and they both pretty much grew up listening to stories from their family members, okay? So here's the story, The Talking Vegetables, okay? Now, I'm not going to read this story for you, But remember, as you read this story, if you want to hear the story being played, okay, you can listen to the story being played, okay? So here's the story right up at the top. And remember, I used to do this in class all the time. It says play
Bam!
audio.
Bam! Bam! Who's pounding on my door so early in the morning? Spider shouted.
So I'm just going to stop it. So you can actually do that. You do not have to actually read the story yourself. You can just click play audio at the top and the story will be read to you. Okay. So that is always an option for you. So please don't forget that, because this is a pretty long story. So if you want to just hear the story, you can definitely do that. Okay. There is nothing at all wrong with that. So here your assignment is, after you read the story, you are going to write a response to the turn and talk question. Okay, now here is the turn and talk page. It says turn and talk at the top. Here it is. Retell the story in your own words. Tell about the main events from the beginning, middle, and end. Okay? So what this means is you are going to retell that story that you just heard. And like I said, that story was pretty long. I do not want you to write every single little detail. I want you to write 1 or 2 sentences about what happened in the beginning of the story, 1 or 2 sentences about what happened in the middle, and then 1 or 2 sentences about what happened at the end. You are not going to write a lot of the details when you're doing a retell. You're doing what was mostly important at the beginning, what was mostly important in the middle, and mostly important at the end. That's how you do a retell, okay? So that is what you are doing for your next assignment. You are answering that question on the turn and talk page, okay? And then your last thing you have to do is your journal writing. Your journal writing is the funniest thing I ever saw was, okay? So that's your prompt. That's your opening. The funniest thing I ever saw was, and you're going to finish that sentence. First sentence, your opening is done. Then you're going to tell me all of the different things that were funny about whatever it is you're writing about, okay? So remember, you're going to tell me 2 or 3 different things. You're going to add details. At the end, this is why blank was the funniest thing I ever saw. That's your closing. You're reiterating. You're just restating what you said at the beginning of your paragraph, okay? So you are writing a paragraph about the funniest thing you ever saw. Opening, your reasons why it was the funniest thing, and your closing at the end, okay? So now remember, you have 4 different things to do for ELA, but if you pace yourself correctly, they should each only take maybe 15 to 20 minutes, okay? Your literacy should not be taking you more than 2 hours, and that includes your core 5. So if you start at 9, by 11, you should be finished with literacy. Then you can take a break, and once you do your math in the afternoon, that should not take you more than an hour, okay? So you should be able to finish most of your work in about 3 hours every day, okay? But please, please do not forget, you need to go on core 5 and iReady, okay? Ms. DeSantis is having us give you guys grades for that. So every single week that you make your 60 minutes, for each one you get a 100 as a class work grade, okay? So every week that you get 60 minutes in core 5, you get core 5 grade for the week for classwork, a 100. Same thing with iReady. If you don't meet your minutes, then you don't get that 100, okay? Then if you don't meet your minutes, then you end up getting a 50. So please make sure you make those minutes every single week. It's important, okay? Also, we know that we have virtual School Spirit Week this week for the entire school district, okay? Everyone in NARC is doing the same thing. Yesterday was Tactical Tuesday. Today is a Whimsical Wednesday, okay? Whimsical Wednesday. And what that means is we want you to show off your creativity, okay? So show how you are creative. You can, in our Google Classroom, you can post your artwork. You can write a poem and post it. You can do a dance routine and post it. You can draw something and post it. You can make a collage or have some kind of craft activity and post it. So whatever you want to do that shows off your creativity. You can dress and put all these different clothes on and show us how you are creative in the way you dress, okay? Whatever you want to do, show us how you are creative. Post it in Google Classroom for the rest of us to see, okay? So that's about it for today. Again, please make sure that you are pacing yourself with this work. You are spending 15 to 20 minutes working on each part of your assignment, and then you should be finished definitely before 2 hours, and then you can take a break before it's time for your math. Okay? Again, as always, if you have any questions, please send them to me in Google Classroom. Okay, I do have groups tomorrow morning, so I will be able to get back in touch with you probably in the afternoon after 12 because I have groups tomorrow morning. Okay,